Hello everyone, what's up y'all? This is Mike J with World News Report, and thank you for joining us here for our next reading of the ancient Ethiopian Bible, one of the oldest books of scriptures known to man, including volumes long removed from the versions that we know today, word for word as it was written in the 3rd to 4th century AD. So any questions or comments are welcome. Now folks, in our last reading, sanctuary homicide cities expand, more Torah law on marriage and other things are explained, some of which seem to be more like Noahidian law, and Amelek's name is blotted out of history. Now, folks, this reading will wrap up the Old Testament's Pentateuch section, and we'll be getting into the historical writings, including some of those lost books. So, as a celebration of this landmark, you can decide on which one we can jump to, which I'll show you the table of contents at the end here, and take a poll for the next chapter. So, let's continue our journey with reading number 26, Deuteronomy 28 through 34. Zoom in just a little bit here. Great. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Thus then shall it be, if you continue to heed the voice of the Lord your God, and are careful to observe all his commandments which I enjoin on you today. The Lord your God will raise you high above all the nations of earth. When you hearken to the voice of the Lord your God, all these blessings will come upon you and overwhelm you. May you be blessed in the city and blessed in the country, blessed of the fruit of your womb, the produce of your soil, and the offspring of your livestock, the issue of your herds, and of the young of your flocks. Blessed be your grain bin and your kneading bowl. May you be blessed in your coming in and blessed in your going out. The Lord will beat down before you the enemies that rise up against you. Though they come out against you from one direction, they will flee before you in 7. The Lord will reaffirm his blessings upon you and on your barns and all your undertaking, blessing you in the land of the Lord your God gives you, provided that you keep the commandments of the Lord your God and walk in his ways. He will establish you as a people sacred to himself, as he swore to you, so that when all the nations of the earth see you bearing the name of the Lord, they will stand in awe of you. The Lord will increase in more than godly measures the fruit of your womb, the offspring of your livestock, and the produce of your soil in the land which he swore to your fathers he would give you. The Lord will open up his rich treasure house to the heavens, to give your land rain in due season, blessing all your undertakings, so that you will lend to many nations and borrow from none. It sounds about right these days, huh? The Lord will make you the head, not the tail, and you will always mount higher and not decline, as long as you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I order you today to observe carefully, not turning aside to the right or to the left from any of the commandments which I give you, in order to follow other gods and serve them. But if you do not hearken the voice of the Lord your God, and are not careful to observe all his commandments which I enjoin on you today, all these curses shall come upon you and overwhelm you. May you be cursed in the city and cursed in the country. Cursed be your grain bin and your kneading bowl. Cursed be the fruit of your womb, the produce of your soil, and the offspring of your livestock, the issue of your herds, and the young of your flocks. May you be cursed in your coming in and cursed in your going out. The Lord will put a curse on you, defeat, and frustration in every enterprise you undertake, until you are speedily destroyed and perished for the evil you have done in forsaking me. The Lord will bring a pestilence upon you that will persist until he has exterminated you from the land you are entering to occupy. The Lord will strike you with wasting and fever, with scorching fiery drought, with blight and searing wind that will plague you until you perish. The sky over your heads will be like bronze, and the earth under your feet like iron. For rain the Lord will give your land powdery dust, which will come down upon you from the sky until you are destroyed. The Lord will let you be beaten down before your enemies. Though you advance against them from one direction, you will flee before them in seven, so that you will become a terrifying example to all the kingdoms of the earth. Your carcasses will become food for all the birds of the air and for the beasts of the field, with no one to frighten them off. The Lord will strike you with Egyptian boils, with tumors, eczema, and the itch, until you cannot be cured. I had that myself, but fortunately I was cured. Bad, nasty stuff. And the Lord will strike you with the madness, blindness, and panic, so that even at midday you will grope like a blind man in the dark, unable to find your way. You will be oppressed and robbed continually, with no one to come to your aid. Though you betroth a wife, another man will have her. Though you build a house, you will not live in it. Though you plant a vineyard, you will not enjoy its fruits. Your ox will be slaughtered before your eyes, and you will not eat of its flesh. Your ass will be stolen in your presence, and you will not recover it. Your flocks will be given to your enemies, with no one to come to your aid. Your sons and daughters will be given to a foreign nation, while you look on and grieve for them in constant helplessness. A people of whom you do not know will consume the fruit of your soil and all your labor, and you will be oppressed and crushed at all times without surcease, until you are driven mad by what your eyes must look upon. The Lord will strike you with malignant boils, of which you cannot be cured, on your knees and legs, and from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head. The Lord will bring you, your king, whom have you set over you, to a nation which you and your fathers have not known. For there you will serve strange gods of wood and stone, and will call forth amazement, reproach, and barbed scorn from all the nations to which the Lord will lead you. Though you spend much seed in your field, you will harvest but little, for the locusts will devour the crop. Though you plant and cultivate vineyards, you will not drink or store up the wine, for the grubs will eat the vines clean. Though you have olive trees throughout your country, you will have no oil for ointment, for your olives will drop off unripe. Though you beget sons and daughters, they will not remain with you, but they will go into captivity. Buzzing insects will infest all your trees and crops of your soil. The alien residing among you will rise higher and higher above you, while you sink lower and lower. He will lend to you, not you to him. He will become the head, you the tail. All the curses will come upon you, pursuing you and overwhelming you until you are destroyed, because you will not hearken to the voice of the Lord your God, nor keep the commandments and statutes he gave you. They will light on you and your descendants as a sign and a wonder for all time, since you will not serve the Lord your God with joy and gratitude for abundance of every kind. Therefore, in hunger and thirst, and nakedness and utter poverty, you will serve the enemies whom the Lord will send against you. He will put an iron yoke on your neck until he destroys you. The Lord will raise up against you a nation from afar, from the end of the earth that swoops down like an eagle, a nation whose tongue you do not understand, a nation of stern visage that neither shows respect for the aged nor pity for the young. They will consume the offspring of your livestock and the produce of your soil until you are destroyed. They will leave you no grain or wine or oil, no issue of your herds or young of your flocks, until they have brought about you ruin. They will besiege you in each of your communities until the great unscalable walls you trust in come tumbling down all over your land. They will so besiege you in every community throughout the land which the Lord your God has given you, that in the distress of the siege to which your enemy subjects you, you will eat the fruit of your womb, the flesh of your own sons and daughters, whom the Lord your God has given you. Gosh. The most refined and fastidious man among you will begrudge his brother and his beloved wife and his surviving children, any share in the flesh of his children that he himself is using for food when nothing else is left him in the straits to the siege to which your enemy will subject you in all your communities. The most refined and delicate woman among you, so delicate and refined that she would not venture to set the sole of her foot on the ground, will begrudge her beloved husband and her son and her daughter, the afterbirth that issues from her womb, and the infant she brings forth, when she secretly uses them for food, for want of anything else, in the straits of the siege to which your enemy will subject you in your communities. My goodness. If you are not careful to observe every word of the law which is written in this book, and to revere the glorious and awesome name of the Lord your God, he will smite you and your descendants with severe and constant blows, malignant and lasting maladies. He will again afflict you with all the diseases of Egypt which you dread, and they will persist among you. Should there be any kind of sickness or calamity not mentioned in this book of the law, that too the Lord will bring upon you until you are destroyed. Of you who were numerous as the stars in the sky, only a few will be left, because you would not hearken to the voice of the Lord your God. Just as the Lord once took delight in making you grow and prosper, so now will he take delight in ruining and destroying you, and you will be plucked out of the land you are now entering to occupy. The Lord will scatter you among the nations from one end of the earth to the other, and there you will serve strange gods of wood and stone, such as you and your fathers have not known. Among these nations you will find no repose, not a foot of ground to stand upon, for the Lord will give you an anguished heart and wasted eyes and a dismayed spirit. You will live in constant suspense and stand in dread both day and night, never sure of your existence. In the morning you will say, would that it were evening, and in the evening you will say, would that it were morning. For the dread that your heart must feel, and the sight that your eyes must see, the Lord will send you back in galleys to Egypt, to the region I told you that you would never see again, and there you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but there will be no buyer. These are the words of the covenant which the Lord ordered Moses to make with the Israelites in the land of Moab, in addition to the covenant which he made with them at Horeb. Wow, a lot going on there. Okay, Deuteronomy 29. The rest are a lot shorter. Moses summoned all Israel and said to them, you have seen all that the Lord did in the land of Egypt before your very eyes, to Pharaoh and all his servants and to all his land, the great testings your own eyes have seen, those great signs and wonders. But not even at present day has the Lord yet given you a mind to understand, or eyes to see, or ears to hear. I led you for 40 years in the desert. Your clothes did not fall from you in tatters, nor your sandals from your feet. Bread was not your food, nor wine or beer your drink. Thus you should know that I, the Lord, am your God. When we came into this place, Sihon, the king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, came out to engage us in battle, but we defeated them and took their land, which we then gave as a heritage to the Reubenites, Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh. Keep the terms of the covenant, therefore, and fulfill them, that you may succeed in whatever you do. You are all now standing before the Lord your God, your chiefs and judges, your elders and officials, and all the men of Israel, together with your wives and children, and all the aliens who live in your camp, down to those who hew wood and draw water for you, that you may enter into the covenant of the Lord your God, which he concluded with you today under this sanction of a curse, so that he may now establish you as his people, and he may be your God, as he promised you, and he swore to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But it is not with you alone that I am making this covenant under the sanction of a curse. It is as much with those who are not here among us today as it is with those who are now here, present before the Lord your God. You know in what surroundings we lived in the land of Egypt, and what we passed by, nations we traversed. You saw the loathsome idols of wood and stone and gold and silver that they possess. Let there be then no man or woman, no clan or tribe among you, who would now turn away their hearts from the Lord our God to go and serve these pagan gods. Let there be no root that would bear such poison and wormwood against you. If any such person, upon hearing the words of this curse, should beguile himself into thinking that he can safely persist on a stubbornness of heart, as though to sweep away both the watered soil and the parched ground, the Lord will never consent to pardon him. Instead, the Lord's wrath and jealousy will flare up against that man, and every curse mentioned in this book will alight on him. The Lord will blot his name out from under the heavens, and will single him out from all the tribes of Israel for doom, in keeping with all the curses of the covenant inscribed in this book of the law. Future generations, your own descendants who will rise up after you, as well as the foreigners who will come here from far-off lands, when they see the calamities of this land and the ills with which the Lord has smitten it, all of its soil being nothing but sulfur and salt, a burnt-out waste, unsown and unfruitful, without a blade of grass, destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboiim, which the Lord overthrew in his furious wrath. They were all the nations will ask, why has the Lord dealt us with this land? Why is this fierce outburst of wrath? And the answer will be, because they forsook the covenant which the Lord, their God, of their fathers, had made with them when he brought them out of the land of Egypt. And they went out and served other gods and adored them, gods whom they did not know and whom he had not let fall to their lot. That is why the Lord was angry with this land and brought on it all the imprecations listed in this book. In his furious wrath and tremendous anger, the Lord uprooted them from their soil and cast them out into a strange land where they are today. Both what is still hidden and what has already been revealed concerns us and our descendants forever, that we may carry out all the words of this law. Deuteronomy chapter 30. When all these things which I have set before you, the blessings and the curses, are fulfilled in you, and from among whatever nations the Lord your God may have dispersed you, you ponder them in your heart. Then, provided that you and your children return to the Lord your God, and heed his voice with all your heart and all your soul, just as I now command you, the Lord your God will change your lot, and taking pity on you, he will again gather you from all the nations wherein he has scattered you. Though you may have been driven out to the farthest corner of the world, even from there will the Lord your God gather you. Even from there he will bring you back. The Lord your God will then bring you back into the land which your fathers once occupied, that you may occupy it. He will make you more prosperous and numerous than your fathers. The Lord your God will circumcise your hearts and the hearts of your descendants, that you may love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul, and so may live. But all those curses the Lord your God will assign on your enemies and foes who persecuted you. You, however, must again heed the Lord's voice and carry out all his commandments, which I now enjoin on you. Then the Lord your God will increase in more goodly measures the returns from all your labors, the fruit of your womb, the offspring of your livestock, and the produce of your soil. For the Lord your God will again take delight in your prosperity, even as he took delight in your fathers, if only you heed the voice of the Lord your God and keep his commandments and statutes that are written in this book of law, which you return to the Lord your God with all your hearts and all your soul. For this command which I enjoin on you today is not too mysterious and remote for you. It is not up in the sky that you should say, who will go up in the sky and get it for us and tell us of it, that we may carry it out? Nor is it across the sea, that you should say, who will cross the sea to get it for us and tell us of it, that we may carry it out? No, it is something very near to you, already in your mouths and in your hearts, and you only have to carry it out. Here then, I have today set before you life and prosperity, death and doom, if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I enjoin on you today, loving him, walking in his ways, and keeping his commandments, statutes, and decrees. You will live and grow numerous, for the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to occupy. If, however, you turn away your hearts and will not listen, but are led astray, and adore and serve other gods, I tell you now that you will certainly perish. You will not have a long life on the land which you are crossing the Jordan to enter to occupy. I call heaven and earth today to witness against you. I have set before you life and death, the blessings and the curse. Choosing of life, then, if you and your descendants may live, by loving the Lord your God, heeding his voice, and holding fast to him. For that will mean life for you, a long life for you to live on the land which the Lord swore he would give to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Deuteronomy chapter 31. Almost fits. Okay. When Moses had finished speaking these words to all Israel, he said to them, I am now 120 years, and I am no longer able to move about freely. Besides, the Lord told me that I shall not cross the Jordan. It is the Lord your God who will cross before you. He will destroy these nations before you, that you may supplant them. It is Joshua who will cross before you, as the Lord promised. The Lord will deal with them just as he dealt with Sihon and Og, the kings of the Amorites, whom he destroyed, and with their country. When therefore the Lord delivers them upon you, you must deal with them exactly as I have ordered you. Be brave and steadfast, have no fear or dread of them, for the Lord your God, who marches with you, he will never fail or forsake you. Then Moses summoned Joshua in the presence of all Israel and said to him, Be brave and steadfast, for you must bring this people into the land which the Lord swore to their fathers he would give to them. You must put them in possession of their heritage. It is the Lord who marches before you. He will be with you and will never fail or forsake you. So do not fear or be dismayed. When Moses had written down this law, he entrusted it to the Levitical priests who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and to all the elders of Israel, giving them this order: on the feast of booths, as at the prescribed time in the year of relaxation, which comes at the end of every 7-year period, when all Israel goes to appear before the Lord your God in the place which he chooses, you shall read this law aloud in the presence of all Israel. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, as well as the aliens who live in your community, that they may hear it and learn it, and so fear the Lord your God, and carefully observe the words of this law. Their children also, who do not know it yet, must hear it and learn it, that they too may fear the Lord your God, as long as you live on the land which you crossed the Jordan to occupy. The Lord said to Moses, The time is now approaching for you to die. Summon Joshua, and present yourselves at the meeting tent, that I may give him his commission. So Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves at the meeting tent. And the Lord appeared at the tent in a column of cloud, which stood still at the entrance of the tent. The Lord said to Moses, Soon you will be at rest with your fathers, and then this people will take no rendering wanton worship to the strange gods among whom they will live in the land they are about to enter. They will forsake me and break the covenant which I have made with them. At that time my anger will flare up against them. I will forsake them and hide my face from them, so that they shall become a prey and be devoured, and many evils and troubles will befall them. At that time they will indeed say, Is it not because our God is not among us that these evils have befallen us? Yet I will be hiding my face from them at that time, only because of all the evil they have done and turning to other gods. Write out this song, then, for yourselves. Teach it to the Israelites and have them recite it, so that this song may be a witness for me against the Israelites, for which I have brought them into the land of flowing with milk and honey, which I promised on the oath to their fathers, and they have eaten their fill and grown fat. If they turn to other gods and serve them, despising me and breaking my covenant, then when many evils and troubles befall them, this song which their descendants will have forgotten to recite will bear witness against them. Get over there. For I know what they are inclined to do, even at the present time, before I have brought them into the land which I promised on oath to their fathers. So Moses wrote this song that same day, and he taught it to the Israelites. Then the Lord commissioned Joshua, son of Nun, and said to him, Be brave and steadfast, for it is you who must bring the Israelites into the land which I promised them on oath. I myself will be with you. When Moses had finished writing out on a scroll the words of the law in their entirety, he gave the Levites who carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord this order: Take this scroll of the law and put it beside the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God. that there it may be a witness against you. For I already know how rebellious and stiff-necked you will be. Why, even now, while I'm alive among you, you have been rebels against the Lord. How much more then, after I'm dead, therefore, assemble all your tribal elders and your officials before me, that I may speak these words for them to hear, and may call heaven and earth to be witness against them. For I know after my death you are sure to become corrupt, and to turn aside from the way along which I directed you, so the evil will befall you in some future age, because you have done evil in the Lord's sight, and provoked him by your deeds. Then Moses recited the words of this song from beginning to end for the whole assembly of Israel to hear. Here's the song. I do not know the melody or the notes, so I'm just going to read right through it, and you can make up your own. Give ear, O heavens, while I speak. Let the earth hearken to the words of my mouth. May my instruction soak in like the rain, and discourse permeate like the dew, like a downpour upon the grass, like a shower upon the crops. For I will sing the Lord's renown. O proclaim the greatness of our God, the rock. How faultless are his deeds, how right all his ways. A faithful God without deceit, and just how upright he is. Yet basely he has been treated by his degenerate children, a perverse and crooked race. Is it the Lord to be thus repaid by you, O stupid and foolish people? Is he not your Father who created you? Has he not made you and established you? Think back on the days of the old. Reflect on the years of the age upon age. Ask your father, and he will inform you. Ask your elders, and they will tell you. When the Most High assigned the nations their heritage, when he parceled out the descendants of Adam, he set up the boundaries of the people after the number of the sons of God, while the Lord's own portion was Jacob. His hereditary share was Israel. He found them in a wilderness, a wasteland of a howling desert. He shielded them and cared for them, guarding them as the apple of his eye, as an eagle incites its nestlings forth by hovering over its brood. So he spread his wings to receive them and bore them upon his pinions. The Lord alone was their leader. No strange god was with him. He had them ride triumphant over the summits of the land and live off the products of its fields, giving them honey to suck from its rocks and olive oil from its hard stony ground, butter from its cows and milk from its sheep, with the fat of its lambs and rams, its Bashan bulls and goats. Important note here, a Bashan bull and goat. Bashan is an area near Gilead tied to giants like King Og, with rich, well-fed livestock, but, metaphorically speaking, is for mighty and arrogant oppressors, meaning the bulls are the hostile religious leaders, such as the Pharisees, fierce and powerful, while the goat is exuberant nourishment and wealth. So that's kind of interesting. With the cream of its finest wheat and the foaming blood of its grapes he drank. So Jacob ate his fill. The darling grew fat and frisky. You became fat and gross and gorged. They spurned the God who made them and scorned their saving rock. They provoked him with strange gods and angered him with abominable gods. They offered sacrifice to demons, to no gods, to gods whom they had not known before. To newcomers just arrived, of whom their fathers had never stood in awe, you were unmindful of the rock that begot you. You forgot the God who gave you birth. When the Lord saw this, he was filled with loathing and anger toward his sons and daughters. I will hide my face from them, he said, to see what will become of them. What a fickle race they are, sons with no loyalty in them. Since they have provoked me with their no God and angered me with their vain idols, I will provoke them with a no people. What a foolish nation, I will anger them. For by my wrath a fire is enkindled, shall rage to the depths of the netherworld, consuming the earth with its yield, and licking with flames the roots of the mountains. I will spend on them woe upon woe, and exhaust all my arrows against them. Emaciating hunger, and consuming fever, and bitter pestilence, and the teeth of wild beasts I will send among them, with the venom of reptiles gliding in the dust. Snatched away by the sword in the street, and by sheer terror at home shall be the youth and the maiden alike, the nursing babe as well as the hoary old man. I would have said, I will make an end to them and blot out their name from men's memories, had I not feared the insolence of their enemies. Feared by these foes would mistakenly boast, for our own hand won the victory. The Lord had nothing to do with it. For they are a people devoid of reason, having no understanding. If they had insight, they would realize what had happened. They would understand their future and say, how could one man rout 1,000, or 2 men put 10,000 to flight, unless it was because their rock sold them and the Lord delivered them up? Indeed, their rock is not like our rock, and our foes are under condemnation. They are a branch of Sodom's vine stock, from the vineyards of Gomorrah. Poisonous are their grapes, and bitter are their clusters. Their wine is the venom of dragons, and the cruel poison of cobras. Is not this preserved in my treasury, sealed up in my storehouse, against the day of vengeance and requital, against the time that they lose their footing? Close at hand is the day of their disaster, and their doom is rushing upon them. Surely the Lord shall do justice for his people. On all his servants he shall have pity, when he sees their strength failing, and their protected and unprotected alike disappearing. He will say, where are the gods whom they relied on as their rock? Let those who ate the fat of your sacrifices and drank the wine of your libations rise up now and help you. Let them be your protection. Learn then that I alone am God, and there is no God besides me. It is I who bring both death and life, I who inflict wounds and heal them, and from my hand there is no rescue. To the heavens I raise my hand and swear, as surely as I live forever, I will sharpen my flashing sword, and hand shall lay a hold of my quiver. With vengeance I shall repay my foes, and requite those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall gorge itself with flesh, with the blood of the slain and the captured, flesh from the heads of the enemy leaders. Exult with him, you heavens, glorify him, all you angels of God, for he avenges the blood of his servants and purges his people's land. So Moses, together with Joshua, son of Nun, went and recited all the words of the song for people to hear. When Moses finished speaking all these words of Israel, he said, take to heart all the warnings which I have now given you, and must impress upon your children, that you may carry out carefully words of law. For this no trivial matter for you, rather it means your very life, since it is by this means that you are to enjoy a long life on the land which you cross into the Jordan today. On that very day, the Lord said to Moses, Go out to Mount Nebo, here in the Abarim Mountains. It is in the land of Moab, facing Jericho, in view of the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites as their possession. Then you shall die on the mountain you have climbed, and shall be taken to your people, just as your brother Aaron died on Mount Hor, and was taken to his people, because both of you had broke faith with me among the Israelites at the waters of Meribah Kadesh in the desert of Zin, by failing to manifest my sanctity among the Israelites. You may indeed view the land at a distance, but you shall not enter the land which I am giving to the Israelites. Remember that about the getting water from the rock by cracking a staff on it. Deuteronomy chapter 33. We're almost done here. This is the blessing which Moses, the man of God, announced upon the Israelites before he died. He said, The Lord came from Sinai and dawned on its people from Seir. He shone forth from this Mount Paran and advanced from Meribah Kadesh, which at his right hand a fire blazed forth, and his wrath devastated the nations. But all his holy ones were in his hand, and they followed at his feet as he bore them up upon his pinions. A law he gave to us. He made the community of Jacob his domain, and he became king of his darling. When the chiefs of his people assembled, and the tribes of Israel came together, may Reuben live, not die out, but let his men be few. The following is for Judah. He said, The Lord hears the cry of Judah. You will bring him to his people. His own hands can defend his cause, and you will be his help against his foes. Of Levi, he said, To Levi belong your Thummim, to the man of your favor of Urim. Now, Thummim and Urim are like special oracle stones that they put on their ceremonial breastplates. For you to put him to the test at Messeh, as you contend with him in the waters of Meribah. He said of his father, I regard him not. His brothers he would not acknowledge, and his own children he refused to recognize. Thus the Levites keep your words, and your covenant they shall uphold. They promulgate your decisions to Jacob, and your law to Israel. They bring the smoke and sacrifice to your nostrils, and burnt offerings to your altar. Bless, O Lord, his possessions, and accept their ministry of his hands. Break the backs of his adversaries and of his foes, that they may not rise. Of Benjamin he said, Benjamin is the beloved of the Lord, who shelters him all day, while he abides securely at his breast. Of Joseph he said, Blessed by the Lord, in this land the best of the skies above, and the abyss crouching beneath, with the best of the produce of the year, and the choicest sheaves of the months, with the finest gifts of age-old mountains, and the best from the timeless hills, when the best of the earth and its fulfillment, and the favor of him who dwells in the bush. These shall come upon the head of Joseph, and upon the brow of the prince among the brothers. The majestic bull, his father's firstborn, whose horns are those of the wild ox. Is that a metaphor? With which to gore the nations. Yep. Even those at the ends of the earth. These are the myriads of Ephraim, and these the thousands of Manasseh. Of Zebulun, he said, Rejoice, O Zebulun, in the pursuits of you, Issachar, in your tents. You will invite the tribes of the mountains where feasts are duly held, because you suck up the abundance of the seas and the hidden treasures of the sand. of God, he said, Blessed be he who has made Gad so vast. He lies there like a lion that has seized the arm and head of the prey. He saw that the best of his when the princely portion was assigned, while the heads of the people gathered. He carried out the justice of the Lord and decrees respecting Israel. Of Dan, he said, Dan is a lion's whelp that springs forth from Bashan. Of Naphtali, he said, Naphtali is enriched with favors filled with the blessings of the Lord. The lake and the south of it are his possession. Of Asher, he said, more blessed than the other sons be Asher. May he be the favorite among his brothers, as the oil of his olive trees runs over his feet. May your bolts of iron be of iron and bronze. May your strength endure through the days. There is no God like the God of the darling, who rides the heavens in his power and rides the skies in his majesty. He spread out the primeval tent. He extended the ancient canopy. He drove the enemy out of the way, and the Amorite be destroyed. Israel has dwelt securely, and the fountain of Jacob has been undisturbed in the land of grain and wine, where the heavens drip with dew. How fortunate are you, O Israel! Where else is a nation victorious in the Lord? The Lord is your saving shield, and his sword is your glory. Your enemies fawn upon you as you stride upon their height. Final chapter, Deuteronomy, chapter 34. Hang up for the table of contents. Then Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, the headland of Pisgah, which faces Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land, Gilead, as far as Dan, all Naphtali, the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, all the land of Judah, and as far as the western sea, the Negeb, the circuit of the Jordan, with the lowlands at Jericho, city of palms, as far as Zoar. The Lord then said to him, This is the land which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that I would give to their descendants. I have let you feast your eyes upon it, but you shall not cross over. So there, in the land of Moab, Moses, the servant of the Lord, died, as the Lord had said. And he was buried up in the ravine opposite Beth Peor, in the land of Moab. But to this day, no one knows of the place of his burial. Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyes were undimmed and his vigor unabated. For 30 days the Israelites wept for Moses in the plains of Moab, till they had completed the period of grief and mourning for Moses. Now Joshua, son of Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom, since Moses had laid his hands upon him. And so the Israelites gave him their obedience, thus carrying out the Lord's command to Moses. Since then, no prophet has arisen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. He had no equal in all the signs and wonders the Lord sent him to perform in the land of Egypt, against Pharaoh and all his servants, and against all his land, and for the might that the terrifying power that Moses exhibited in the sight of all Israel. He sure did. Well, that ends up that section. So, guys, here's the table of contents. We just finished all this part of the Old Testament. We are now into the historical books. I'm trying to kind of keep things in order, but since we're celebrating, all these ones with the dots are the lost books. Additions to Esther, Tobit, Judith, Esdras, and Baruch. We also have Sirach under the wisdom books, Susanna, Bel and the Dragon, Prayer of Isaiah, and the Songs of the Three Holy Children, the letter of Jeremiah. We also got a few more over here. Clement 1, the prayer of Manasseh, Megabian, Jubilees, or should I dare jump into Enoch? It's for you guys to decide. I'll be posting this in the comment. Your suggestions are more than welcome. Again, this is Mike with World News Report. Signing out. Please like, share with those who care, and see you next time. Mike out.